Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another bar by bar analysis here on my channel. Today is March 29th, 2022. And there are two different times where we can improve the way we trade in the market. One of those times being during the day when we're actually trading and we're seeing bars form the way we normally do. And the other time we can improve our method of trading is post analysis. And by doing bar by bar analysis, using our technical skills to identify trends and find entries at key entry points. I say that because if we want to become better as traders, we have to be able to do both. We need to be learning how to trade in the moment when bars are printing and we're working on timing our entries, as well as reviewing our charts afterwards, going bar by bar, and training our eyes to pick up on patterns early so that we can time our entries correctly. As we normally start the day off, we draw our level of resistance and support at overnight highs and overnight lows. And when I came in this morning, pretty easy to identify that we have an uptrend at play. Now, with this uptrend at play and with the market about to open, we have to ask ourselves, where is the market most likely to continue moving? And with how strong of an uptrend this has been, most likely we're going to keep moving up. We have somewhat of a short-term downtrend here that breaks attempts to make a new low. With a new low, first entry short prices come up, second entry short failure, but we're too far away from the EMA. Right before the market opens, we do have this bar, which is somewhat bullish, and with how strong of an uptrend we had at play here, I could see how some people may take this trade, but it still is a little bit aggressive. As the morning starts, we immediately get a nice higher low with prices bouncing off EMA. While this is an aggressive entry, this is a safer entry. And while you do have this level of resistance here at the top, the overnight session had a very strong uptrend with prices holding above EMA, not a single close below EMA since 6:40 in the morning. And with volume entering the market, when the market opens, this is where you'd like to capitalize on that movement and take this higher low trade. Now, this was a trade I took this morning. It triggered. I was in this trade before prices shot up and definitely made that scalp. My runner got stopped out, but it was a good first trade for the day. Good way to start the morning. We get a new high. And as prices come back down to the EMA, we have a first entry long. Prices come back down. No trigger on that second entry long just yet. Prices push down and close below the EMA for the first time here. With that new high, first entry long, second entry long, we could potentially be looking to trade a failure back to the other side of this channel. I wasn't a fan of this signal bar. If we're going to be cutting sharply through the EMA, I want to enter on a good signal bar. That's when this next bar formed. And this signal bar was more bullish by 2 ticks. Now I missed this trade because I really was looking to go long off this EMA, but when prices push below, all of these prices are closing below EMA, this would have been a nice place to go short for 2 reasons. One, prices cut through EMA and are holding below EMA after trying to push up, and 2, for those that decided to go long below the EMA, their stop is 1 tick below this signal bar. So as this next bar prints, all the stops get run out for the people that were trying to go long, and with prices holding below EMA, prices we expect to come back down to the lows of this channel. Prices continue to fall, and by no surprise, prices make it to the bottom of this support in this channel. Prices continue to chop along just a little bit, and we do have a break of this uptrend that we had in play. It is important that we have our short-term trend lines drawn as prices kind of chop along a little bit before prices push back up. Now, where are we expecting prices to go? We are expecting prices to go higher to make this new high after having this break of this channel. But we'll just have to see how prices react here at EMA before we look at taking any trades. We have a new low, first entry short, second entry short if it triggers below this bar. And we have 2 conflicting beliefs here because we have the short-term trend that's working down and has it break looking for a new low of this channel. But then we also have this bigger channel with a break looking to make a new high. And after we've had such a strong uptrend day, I would be hesitant to look at going short. My bias was more looking at going long. So I wasn't interested in taking a second entry short here. We did have a short-term trend up with a break move to a new high. First entry short, second entry short. Price closes below EMA, coming off the level of overnight high resistance that we have here. I could definitely see how people could take this trade. But if you enter this trade, your stop is going to go 1 tick above this signal bar. So as the next bar prints, people would be in this trade with their stop 1 tick above the signal bar, and as prices continue to chop along, people would have eventually gotten that scalp. And there is our break of trend line, move to a new low. So this downtrend has played out. That being said, that has to be something you recognize in the moment, and you have to not get spooked out as the EMA continues to flatten out and you consider skunking this trade. But regardless, that could have been a trade that people took. Again, I wasn't interested in that. I was looking for prices to go back long above overnight highs, but we didn't get that. Break a new low, short-term trend has played out, looking to see how prices react as they come up to the EMA. And as prices continue to make new lows, we have to ask ourselves, could we have a bigger trend at play? So we extend our channel to accommodate the prices as much as we can. With a new low here at the bottom, prices come up first entry long. Prices start here at the bottom, first entry short, short-term trend in play with a break, new high, second entry short below this signal bar, but we're not looking to go short below such a bullish signal bar. So if you're going to go short, you'd want to go short here. That being said, if you entered on the tick, your stop will go one tick above. You'd be risking 6.5 points on this entry to go short. That risk is way too much. I wasn't interested in trading that. It's way too aggressive. But the entry would have triggered. People would have been in this trade as EMA really starts to flatten out. Prices start to overlap a bit, and then it eventually makes a scalp. But again, very risky trade. Your stop loss would be huge. That risk reward may not be worth it. We also have a break of this short-term trend, this channel working down, break, moving, trying to find a new low, and it does by a tick, so this downtrend has played out. Before we adjust the trend line, we want to make sure that that's exactly what we have, that this downtrend has finished. So I like to let prices play out just a little bit, and as it breaks further again, down, that's when I start to think, okay, we could have a bigger trend at play. And so I move my channel up at the top to accommodate prices. And then when you extend at the bottom, you'll see prices hold neatly here at the bottom. We extend the channel a little bit more. And where are prices going? To the support level of this channel. Prices find support here, as well as support here at this 200 EMA that's slowly starting to curve out, which could signify that this strong uptrend may be dying out and prices could be looking to trade back into the range. We have a new low, prices working up with a first entry short and new low, finding support here at the bottom of this channel before we have a breakdown to the low side. Now this could be considered an overshoot, but we won't know until we see a little bit more price action play out. And as prices come back up, people could classify this as an undershoot or an overshoot to the low side. And what do these overshoots tell us? These overshoots generally lead to an increase in momentum to the opposite end of the channel. So after we have something like this, where are we anticipating prices are going to go? Back out the opposite end of this channel. It can happen. Does it mean it's going to happen? Not necessarily, but it's something that we can possibly expect as we see price action play out. We have a new low with a first entry short as prices come up to the EMA, second entry short if it triggers below this bar, but not really the best bearish signal bar to go short into, and we have to be very hesitant about taking shorts when we have an overshoot like this. There would have been a trigger on as this next bar prints, first entry short, second entry short, possibly a failure. We also have a new high with a first entry long, prices come back down, and then finish second entry long. If this signal bar finished a little bit more bullish, I would have loved to go long here. I definitely wasn't interested in going short because of this overshoot, and the EMA is trending fairly close to the support level of this channel. And usually when we're in a channel, I like to see the EMA holding around the midline as it's doing here. If it starts to stray a little bit too far from the midline, I start to get very hesitant about taking trades because that means the channel could be weakening and prices could change on us very quickly. For those that decided to take a trade here as EMA was starting to flatten out, this trade would have triggered. You would have been in this trade before prices come back down and reverse back above EMA, and you would have gotten your scalp. Another thing to mention here is the risk would have been 4.25 points, and you technically would be trading counter trend as we have this big downtrend in play. As prices continue to move along, we also have to identify that we have a potential range structure that's forming here at the bottom. So it's something that we can draw in to accommodate our price action. Prices break out to the top side of this trading range, and as expected, we had that overshoot here, generates momentum back to the opposite end of the channel, and it breaks to the top side of the channel. This is exactly what we thought was going to happen. Now, if you remembered that bias, maybe this trade would have been something that would have been worth taking if you had that in mind. But I don't think I was necessarily thinking of that in the moment, and that's why I didn't end up taking the trade there. We have a new low with the first entry short. Prices come back up. Second entry short trigger above this signal bar, not necessarily looking to go short with these prices pushing strongly above the EMA. Prices come back down to EMA, new high, first entry long, prices come back down, second entry long if it triggers above the signal bar, but we do have closure right below the EMA, so I'm not interested in taking a long here. We also have a break of this channel that's working down, so we're anticipating prices to make a new low. Additionally, if we extend this range out, we're expecting for prices to come back and test the breakout area that we had here. So realistically, I'm not interested in going long. If anything, I'm interested in going short. As this next bar forms, it's clear we have a failed second entry long with a new high. First entry long, prices come back down below EMA. Second entry long, and prices reverse and close. This was the second trade I took, entering below this signal bar, looking for prices to make a new low of this overall downtrend that we have in play. Prices continue to push down and scalp out before my runner gets kicked out, and prices come back up above EMA. Prices chop around just a little bit, again testing this breakout area of the trading range before prices push back above EMA. At this point, I would be interested in taking a failed second entry short. If we had a low here, if this was a first entry short, second entry short that failed, I would have looked at going long, but we didn't necessarily get something like that. No trigger, no setup. Additionally, we have to notice that EMA is starting to flatten out a little bit more. We could have another range at play. I'm going to change the color here so it's a little bit easier to see the ranges that we have. And as prices kind of chop along here, we're not looking at taking any trades just yet. We do have the new low here with the first entry short. Prices come back up for a second entry short on top of this second entry short, which is the failed breakout of this trading range that we have here. The only hesitancy I would have about going short is we had a break of this short-term trend looking to make the new low. This was our attempt at trying to go low, so we didn't quite make it. And since then, we've had a higher low. I'm hesitant to go short into all of this support that's down here. So not interested in taking that. People would have been in this trade, I think maybe, let's see, 775, 625. That would have maybe just been 6 ticks. So depending on what you're going for, you might have just gotten out or not. But again, not interested in taking trades like that. I'm looking for prices to hold above EMA, and as prices move higher, I'm looking for uptrends. Prices work a little bit more before we have a break of this uptrend. Wasn't necessarily confirmed. We have 1, 2 touches. There was never really a third touch, so most likely we don't have this uptrend at play. Prices are pulling back down to the breakout area of this trading range that we have here. New high, first entry long, second entry long, but closes below EMA, not looking to go long. Some people could see this as a failed second entry long. New high, first entry long, second entry long, and then close below EMA, but EMA is starting to flatten out a little bit. I'd be hesitant to go short here. Next bar would have printed and that price would have triggered. People would have been in this trade and they would have scalped out depending on how you entered. And as more bars start to form, we see this EMA really flattening out with consolidation and indecision as prices try and figure out what they're going to do. We do have a new low with a first entry short, second entry short below this signal bar. Not interested in going short. When prices are closing above the EMA like that, prices are pushing back into this trading range before they push back up out of this trading range. That's when I look at, okay, well, we could have a bigger trend at play. We have a 200 EMA that's starting to flatten out just a little bit. Starting from the low, try and draw in a channel that accommodates these swings. And now you can start to see we have a bigger uptrend at play here. So we're going to roll with it. Prices push above EMA, looking for reasons to go long. We have a new high with a first entry long by a tick, second entry long if it triggers above this signal bar. I think this was a trade that I was interested in, but I didn't get into it because it never triggered, as the next bar's prices don't push above for that entry. And then we get this signal bar, first entry long, second entry long, prices holding here at EMA. And this was a third trade that I took for the day. Looking back, we did have a short-term trend moving up with a break in new high, first entry long, second entry long. So there was a little bit of hesitancy looking to go back long after this short-term trend played out. But as prices have made higher highs and higher lows, we've had a small trend upward. This was a trade I thought was worth the risk. I was in this trade and prices waited a little bit before pushing up. Prices are working to the top of this channel as well as these overnight highs. We have a new high, first entry long that takes place all the way down here. Prices coming back to the support level of this channel. We do have a short-term trend at play. First entry long, second entry long if it triggers above this bar, but again, we have the short-term trend in play. We're not looking to go long into that. Prices come all the way down to this channel. Second entry long triggers above this signal bar. but we just had a break of our short-term trend, not looking to go long here. This next bar prints, prices come down, stop everyone out that was trying to go long, and then prices continue to push down. And these are why these aggressive trades, it's not worth taking. Even if you are here at the support level of this channel, we cannot be going against the short-term trends that we have in play. We do have a break of the short-term trend looking for a new low, and we continuously make new lows before prices find some support here at the bottom and push back up above EMA. Now I stopped trading around this time. I was sitting on my hands. There really was no trade setting up. But as I look at it now, I would be interested in taking a failed second entry short or some sort of higher low back to test these overnight highs. We have a new low with the first entry short, second entry short, but no signal bar, no way to go long. This bar is starting to print. I would be interested in taking a higher low, but prices continue to push down. New low, and that's where we end for the day. So ultimately, there were some trades in here, but what I've noticed is patience is key when you're trading a market like this, especially on slower days where we don't really get a lot of price action. We have to be patient. And a problem that I find sometimes with myself is when I do these bar by bar analysis videos, I'm moving through the price action as fast as I want it to. All I have to do is press a button to the right and I'm going to get all this price action. Whereas when I'm trading live, I have to sit and wait for these bars to print. And sometimes it takes a long time for a setup to happen. So in this business, you have to be able to be patient and you have to be okay with sometimes waiting and not making any trades at all. So that's something that I'm still working on and something that I'm still learning in order to maintain that consistent profit that will make me a successful trader. But other than that, that's it for today's video. I appreciate all the support that I'm getting for these videos. If you found it beneficial, please leave a like, subscribe, comment, let me know how these videos are helping you, and don't forget to turn on your post notifications so you know exactly when I post these videos. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to making another video tomorrow. Thanks for watching.